Okay. We're talking about Maurice. We're talking about Maurice. How we do this? We're talking about Maurice Hot Rod Hulbert.
My grandfather.
That's right. The only Baltimore DJ to be enshrined in the National Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. Maurice Hot Rod Hulbert was one of the most influential radio personalities ever. Born in the Deep South, Hot Rod began to make his mark while at the legendary WDIA in Memphis, working alongside the likes of B.B. King and Rufus Thomas. Hulbert's training in vaudeville served him well as a radio entertainer. In 1951, he became the first full-time black DJ on an all-white station when he hired at WITH in Baltimore, allegedly when Rod went to Baltimore in '51. He spent his first day in a hotel room dialing around the radio to check out the competition. Time would quickly show that Hulbert had no competition. In the early 50s, his 8 till midnight slot captivated Baltimore's teens and adults alike by featuring Commander Hot Rod in his rocket spaceship. We're talking pure theater of the mind, and Rod was a master. During that period, a young Baltimore lad who worked as an intern at WITH appropriated Rod's act and took it to Philly, and later New York, for success of his own. That was Jocko Henderson, greatly influenced by Hot Rod Hulbert. By the late 1959, the payola scandal was in the news. Big-time jocks throughout the country were nervous about keeping their jobs because many were recipients of money and gifts from the record companies in exchange for playing certain records. Ironically, the practice was not illegal, but a Senate investigation was about to change all that. At the time, Rod published a tip sheet which featured spotlight songs that at the time, Rod published a tip sheet which featured spotlight songs. These mentions were paid for by the companies. Understandably, WITH was nervous about the connection. Therefore, WITH manager Jake Embry arranged a deal with Philadelphia station WHAT to relocate Rod up the road in the city of brotherly love. Rod stayed in Philadelphia for a few years, and for much of that time also he did a shift at WOV in New York. By 1963, it was time for Rod to come back to Baltimore. With Embry hired Hulbert back full-time. In 1964, Rod switched stations in Baltimore and went to 1400 WWIN. There he joined a stellar lineup of R&B talent, including Long Leary, Larry Dean, Al Jefferson, Rock In, Robin, Sir Johnny O, and others. Hulbert stayed at WWIN well into the 70s. His promotions were legendary. He had a saying, VOSA, which meant voice of sound advice. Another Rodism was Great Google Movie, used in The Temptations' hit Ball of Confusion. His flair for theatrics and showmanship enthralled audiences black and white at venues like Cars Beach in Annapolis and the Royal Theater and Coliseum in Baltimore. Hulbert's influence with black entertainers was without question. He helped up and coming stars like Aretha Franklin, Lou Rawls, Otis Redding, and others, including a young Muhammad Ali. When it came to the needs in the black community, Hulbert lent his considerable talents and fundraising abilities to many causes, not just in Baltimore, but throughout the country. Rod spent the rest of his radio career primarily in sales, working at 1360 WEBB and 860 WBGR. At the last named station, Hulbert sold $1 million worth of advertising in the mid-'80s on a AM daytimer. Quite an achievement indeed. Then again, Maurice was a competitor and felt he could pretty much do anything he put his mind to. Rod retired from the radio in the early 90s with wife Brenda, continued to make his home in Baltimore area. By the early 1996, Maurice discovered that he had cancer. On March 30th, 1996, WITH held a 55th anniversary reunion at its Baltimore studios. Rod was invited, but station officials were advised he would likely not be able to attend. As the reunion went on the air at noon that day, WITH reunion coordinator Bob Mathers received a call from Mrs. Hulbert. The message was brief. Maurice is on his way, but not let anyone leave until he gets there. When Rod came to the studio, those on air, including WITH alums Buddy Dean, Jack Gale, Jack Wells, Buddy McGregor, Bill Evanson, and Jake Embry were delighted to see Hot Rod. By this time, he carried a pad to write down his words. For the cancer had already taken his ability to speak. Hugs, tears, and dozens of phone calls from WITH listeners were all received graciously by Rod. As Jack Gale said in the studio that day, Rod, you were the best. On December 24th, 1996, Rod departed. On December 30th, 1996, WITH aired a one-hour tribute to Hot Rod. Testimonials from Baltimore Colts, great Lenny Moore, sportscaster Chuck Thompson, and Al Jefferson were just some of the many luminaries who paid tribute to one of the all-time greats. At Rod's funeral, early WITH associate Buddy Dean told those in attendance, if I could say one thing about him, it would be he was my friend. As Rod himself said many times, not the flower, not the herb, not the root, but the seed, VOSA. Email Mrs. Brenda Hulbert at brenda9813@aol.com. Now, Mr. Hulbert, this was your grandfather. On a personal note, what do you have to say about your grandfather?
He was a great man. I probably should have followed in his footsteps being in the media field, but
you're in the media field. What
is just television.
Okay, so what have you done so far in the media field yourself?
Oh, well, I mean, I've worked on production with Tabby Smiley, Robert Robinson. I've worked on a few episodes of The Professors on the campus of Kennedy King College.
And I understand that you're thinking about creating a foundation in your grandfather's honor in Memphis and maybe Cleveland.
Yes, that has crossed my mind. I mean, that would be something to do, and I'm pretty sure a lot of young people could benefit from that.
All right. Well, this has been Gregory Hulbert and Dan Knight. And to the memory of Hot Rod, if it wasn't for people like him, there wouldn't be any people like us. So all you people out there, be you elders or be you people of your children or adults, what I have to say today is respect one another, respect your elders, and love each other. Peace out.